welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nelson. Now, needs must, because you were about to travel, that we're doing this remotely. I just point that out right at the beginning because this is famously where we have any problem we ever have on this show is because of this. So if you're like, why
I
is
should
this only 12
introduce our
minutes?
special guest, which is the ambience of the rest of the room that I'm in, because that tends to come through a lot. Apologies about that. It's really on the listener, though, isn't it?
I would say so, actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah. Like, I think realistically, if you as a listener were more financially invested in this podcast, then we would have better sound. And that's not on us.
No.
That's on you guys.
Yeah.
So think about that next time you complain about our sound. Okay. Yep. Going away soon. So we are remote recording. And we're also recording a little bit ahead of time, which is a bit sad because the hot topic that I really want to talk about is the growing tiff between Elon and Trump. It's very entertaining. They are just like school children yelling insults from across the yard. It's so childish and awesome and totally expected. Like 100%. I think I vaguely remember saying a while ago that if you were a Democrat and you wanted to create a divide between the Republicans or whatever, you should tweet like hashtag President Musk a bit more in your social media, like really amp that up. And it didn't even take that much, really. It was just the small threat of Elon, and the just a hairline fracture, I guess, initially was enough to send them into schoolyard bullying of each other, and it's entertaining for the rest of the world.
We're collectively having a great time.
It's so fun. We woke up this morning and Ellen was like, "Oh my God, check out this new iPhone."
This is like a nice nostalgic thing for people listening, being like, I remember that from weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's crazier by this time. I hope it is for entertainment's sake. But I think also what's funny is the blind spot Elon has had thus far, although, with mentioning that Trump is on the Epstein files, which I did see like a Ask Reddit saying, how do you feel about this? And pretty much unanimously, everybody's like, yeah, we knew.
Yeah.
It was pretty much not in doubt that he was, but the like blinding, like the Elon not realizing that actually criminalizes him as well, to be like, I knew 100% and I supported this dude.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You're such an idiot. Just such a dumb idiot to come out with that like insult that people kind of knew anyway and seem to just ignore or whatever, but then to say that and it makes it worse, right? Because Trump still has plausible deniability or something, which is stupid, whatever. He's got away with much worse anyway. But the fact that Elon's saying, no, I 100% know, means it actually puts more emphasis on the type of character that he is than Trump is, in a way. It's just so crazy. Anyway.
I knew this and I still went into business with him.
Yeah. Just insane. Anyway, very entertaining. Thank you, America. Well, I don't think actually there's been a good TV show in the recent months that has escalated to this level of entertainment, but
it's so funny. I started watching the TV show Veep like 2 years ago, and now like I think it's a good show, but it doesn't hold up in that, like, what they considered to be crazy politics is just nothing now.
Yeah, that's right. Or like House of Cards or something.
Yeah.
You're like, it's so tame.
Yeah.
Anywho, all right. We should get into this. This first Ask Reddit was cross-posted to us by Gone Fishcaking, but it was originally by Throwra Tune 909. Okay, I have to say something. Sorry, I'm going to pause the podcast again because Stacey told me recently that there's something that she hates that I do. And I'm still going to do it because I don't get. She is saying that when I pronounce Throwra, that's wrong. You meant to say throw RA because it's meant to be throw away. And I say, and my response to her was, well, why don't they just write throw away at the start? Because throw RA is barely, it's not close enough, I feel like, to get away with it. So I will continue to say thrower. Anybody who puts that at the start of the name.
There's just this is an example of a man that was presented with an opportunity to learn and grow, and he said no.
No, thank you. I like to think that people should learn from me and start now when they create a throwaway account, just typing throwaway, which some do, just by the way. Anyway. Throw Tune 909 says, am I the arsehole for pointing out that my boyfriend eats like the poor people of his country? Kevin, it seems like you've got some opinions already.
I mean, it's a tantalizing headline, I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I'm going to say, like, slightly more borderline than you think.
Okay.
I mean, you're not wrong. But this is let's just go through it. Okay. Yep. My boyfriend grew up in extreme poverty. It's not starting well. Okay. Like living on a garbage site poverty. His mum managed to snag a foreign businessman, not particularly rich, but middle class enough. And when he was 8, they moved out. That just whole first couple of sentences seems really rude. Living on a garbage site poverty. His mum managed to snag a foreign business. That just seems...
Yeah, it's like not that they fell in love, it's that she managed it.
Yeah, she snagged him, yeah. My boyfriend has horrible table manners for the country we live in. He chews loudly with his mouth open, not just a little open, but fully open. He burps at the table, he farts at the table, he shoves as much down his face as he possibly can. He doesn't think about the fact that the food is hot when it comes to the table. He just shovels it in. And when it is hot and burns his mouth, he points his face up, unhinges his jaw, and loudly while thrashing around to the point where it looks like he is having a seizure. I swear he exaggerates all his expressions as well. You can be on the opposite side of the room and clearly know if he likes or dislikes his meal, or if he has burped. When we first met, I was like, what the actual fuck? He told me it was cultural and I just accepted it. Now I don't mind when we're at home. Even at a place like McDonald's, I can turn a blind eye too. But when we have been invited to someone's house or we are in a nicer restaurant, people stare and people talk about him. I have brought it up a few times, but he does not care. However, for some ungodly reason, if he eats in front of his mum, he doesn't do all that. He has regular table manners for the country we are in. He took me to visit his country for 2 weeks with his parents a few months back. I noticed that when we were in poorer restaurants, a lot of people did eat like him. Nowhere near as extreme as him, though, but they did eat with their mouth open, spit bones and gristle out, etc. My boyfriend stepped it up by a good few notches in comparison. At the richer restaurants, he was the only one that ate like that. They were also staring at him. I don't know if it's just colonization or some other reason why the rich ate the way they did, but they did. My boyfriend does have issues with money. He gets stressed out by the fact that he isn't a millionaire already and that he isn't doing enough. He also wants the type of job where you go out on business trips and dinners. If you're going to do that, you need to be able to have proper table manners. When we went home from the trip, I mentioned it to him offhandedly. I got the impression that he genuinely thought I was lying about it. He wasn't happy, but it was a short and sweet type of conversation. A few days ago, we were sitting in a restaurant In walked a group of people that obviously had a lot of money, and they were also from the same country as him. I assume they were on holiday or just visiting. He noticed them and pointed out to me he ate how he usually ate. When they got their food, I looked and saw they ate with their mouth closed, and I pointed it out to my boyfriend as proof that I was right. He was incredibly angry about it. I feel like I went a bit too far here. Am I the asshole?
This is such an interesting post.
Yeah.
In that I think both these people are insane.
Yeah, they kind of both suck.
I find it weird that she's associating his lack of manners purely to being poor.
Yeah, exactly.
I find that weird, but also I find him weird to be like, I know what I'm doing and I don't care, and it stresses me out that I'm not a millionaire.
Yeah, being stressed out that you're not a millionaire seems like the ultimate trap.
And maybe we can say that so calmly because we are millionaires, Nelson, so we wouldn't know what it's like.
It's all this podcast money we've got.
That's why we could buy that good microphone for you.
Yeah, I just choose not to because I'm only barely over $1 million, and the microphone will put me under, and I can't afford that. No, I think that's why I thought that this post was a little bit more borderline. Like, it starts out real, just the headline about the asshole pointing out my boyfriend eats like the poor people of your country. Yes, you are the asshole for pointing that out because you think it's like it's wealth related. I feel like if you were like, am I the asshole for saying that my boyfriend has bad table manners? That's perfectly acceptable and fine. But she's put so much about the wealth portion of this being the reason why. I think that's just not true. It's like I think there's probably some correlation in a way, but I don't think it's. I think if you phrase it like that, it's really negative because it's like the way racism is when you apply the generic thing to a particular race of people, and you're like, they're all like that. You know, she's doing the same thing, but for wealth.
Yeah, well, it's classism. Yeah, it's funny that her complaint is valid, but her reasoning is wrong. Like, her reasoning makes her the asshole, but the complaint itself is actually fine. To be like, am I the asshole for telling my partner that the way they're eating is like unacceptable in polite society? And even like, as they point out, there are cultural differences, and that is very true. But to her point, like, even then when I was there, no one was like as bad as him at this. You know, there is some validity to that, I suppose. But the reasoning they're putting behind it is so odd. To be like, well, you know, he was poor until he was 8, so now he's never been able to. Because poorness is such a disease that if you get infected with it long enough until you're 8, you will never, ever be able to grow out of being a poor person.
But the thing is, she mentioned that when they're with his mum, he actually does behave more civilly, which is sort of interesting because then it does imply that his mum brought him up to be like, hey, don't chew like a monster. And then I don't know how to me right now, I don't know, obviously it's because I have had the upbringing of like, don't chew with your mouth open and, you know, everything else, I guess, associated with that. But to me, it would just require effort to not do that stuff anymore. And the fact that he knows how, he must just be like, oh, it's so painful to chew with my mouth closed, which I could just so easily. And I love actually the description she gave of when he gets hot food, he burns his mouth all the time because he has not learned his lesson once. So like, blow on the food first before shoveling it into his mouth.
This is really what kind of confuses me. Is I don't believe they say how old this person is, but I'm going to assume maybe early 20s. Like, I don't know why I'm defaulting to that, but like, I guess based on the idea that they're upset that they're not a millionaire. I feel like that kind of arrogance comes when you're a little bit younger.
Yeah.
But again, he apparently moved out of poverty when he was 8. So let's say he's 20.
Yeah.
In 12 years, he's never learnt to check food's hot. I understand that initially, if hot food wasn't a frequency when you were eating when you were a kid, maybe for 6 months afterwards, you would not be thinking that. But 12 years is a long time to be like, I still haven't clocked how come sometimes when I get food, it burns.
Burning my mouth on food is one of my most hated, frustrating, avoidable injuries to get. It must be the most easily avoidable injury in the world, I think. It just has to be. And yet, and that's why when I do it, I'm so frustrated. I'm like, I just needed to blow on this for an extra second. It's so stupid that I was like, I'll just put this super hot thing in my mouth straight away and it'll be totally fine. It's so avoidable. It's so easy to do. And it's just and it's annoying and you get so crazy that you just don't care about it.
Yes, they are an asshole for the way that they're thinking about it.
Yeah.
But also he sounds like a bit of an asshole too.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because they're like,
They're
hey,
all
we're going
assholes.
to this fancy thing. Can you make an effort to? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
So that's kind of asshole-y too.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy. Anywho, let's move on and get into Ask Reddit.
Ask Reddit.
This Ask Reddit is by Eurasian Bella. What's a common myth about health, nutrition, or fitness that you've learned is actually false?
Oh, that's interesting. Now you studied nutrition and fitness.
Yeah.
Are there any that you went into the course thinking were true? Like breakfast is the most important meal of the day, or what? Any of those ones that you came?
Yeah. The most valuable lesson I learned, I'm not sure whether there's a myth that surrounds this, maybe a little bit. And I want to say probably around that time, it was more common that there would be diets based on juices, juicing, or even soups and stuff. And the best bit of advice I got, and I think it just stands the test of time, is never drink something you can eat. And I think that's just solid advice. You can maybe come up with exceptions.
Literally solid.
Yeah, exactly. You could maybe come up with exceptions or specific reasons why, but just as a general golden rule, I think it's a pretty solid one. You get a lot more of the nutrients usually when you eat something as opposed to juicing something. Not to mention, especially when it comes to fruits in particular, you end up having the sugar of a bunch of fruits in one glass of, orange juice, for example. But eating the orange is obviously just the right amount, or it's hard to eat 500 oranges, but it's very easy to drink 5 oranges. And that's actually even if you juice them yourselves. If you get juice from, this is a fun tip that I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily know, is that if you get juice from the supermarket in a bottle, they might say 100% orange juice. And you're like, cool, that's got to be good for me because, even though maybe I'm drinking more oranges than I would eat or whatever, it's just 100% orange, nothing else. But what they do is they get a bunch of oranges, they extract the sugar, just the sugar from X number of oranges, and then add it to the juice of another, a lesser amount of oranges. And so you're getting like an extra sugary hit. And they're technically correct in saying that it's 100% oranges, but they're still manipulating the like ratio of the ingredients. And so people are consuming way more sugar than they usually would. But yes, anyway, general rule, eat, only don't drink what you can eat.
The nutrition one that I always think of is, I feel like it was our generation as we were growing up, they kept like vilifying different aspects of food, but it was just like different like organizations. Like for a while it was like, oh, well, this is actually fat free. That was the big thing, to be like, this has no fat in it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people started saying, well, fat's not necessarily the problem. It's actually the sugar that's the problem. But like they essentially, like Coke and all these companies were doing tests, but because they don't really have fat in their products anyway, like they were like, oh, that must be the problem. So everything used to say fat free on the thing. Yeah. Now it's more commonly accepted that it's actually sugar is far worse. And now they're trying to say this is sugar free. And I feel like it will just keep evolving in that way, to be like, whatever lobby is lobbying the hardest against whatever, that's what the trend in nutrition will be.
Yeah, well, there's a famous case of literal bribery that came out. I think it might have even been the 90s or something, where they bribed some scientists in a study to say that like salt was worse than sugar or something like that. Just totally incorrect. To say the salt's like really great for you. It was just to try and cover it, create a greater evil. Which is to me is crazy, because obviously there's plenty of studies where they can be manipulated in one way or another to show the results you kind of want. But this was just a blatant like, hey, just report the wrong stuff. So, it's something that you think like doesn't actually happen, but really it does. It does. Yeah. But anyway, I thought we could go through some of the comments too, and find some interesting ones. This first one by Icy Whale 2253. I thought black people, in brackets me, didn't need sunscreen because melanin protects us against the sun. Evidently, that's not entirely true.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. That's
yeah,
that's like a potentially very dangerous, like, and from what I know, we have doctors that listen, but I believe there has been like historically some like medical information depending on races that they've found out to not really be true. And they're actually affecting the healthcare of like different like racial groups based on just like old science that was also just based on racism,
Yeah, exactly. Lyra Bell said potatoes are actually nutrient dense, not just starch. I mean, it's not that I believed that potatoes were just starch, but I feel like there's kind of this idea that they don't have much nutrients in them. But
there's very little value to them. I actually learnt a lot about potatoes by reading the book The Martian, because he has to live off potatoes a lot. And he goes into the fact that they do have like a fair amount of nutritional value if you really need it, like they will sustain you for long enough.
I learned a lot about potatoes from the Irish, because they love them potatoes.
It's all they eat, I think.
That's how their country survived.
Well, not the potato famine.
Yeah, well, obviously that almost killed them, because that's all they ate.
I saw this one here from Inevitable Detail 45. So slightly off topic, but people haven't learnt the recent news that we now believe we know what the appendix does. It's a backup storage for gut bacteria, so it can help replenish itself, like an antibiotic.
Yeah. There's two here I like as well. One is by Hephaestus. There's no real such thing as a cleanse. Own a liver. That's how we do a cleanse for real. Yeah, or like I feel like detox is a common phrase too. And again, I remember my sorry to throw my sister under the bus, but she did one that was like insane. The idea was like, oh, you do this detox and you lose weight, and you gets rid of all the toxins in your body and all that stuff. And it was like drink some water with like a squirt of lemon in it for like every meal for 2 weeks or something. You're like, of course you're gonna fucking lose weight.
Yeah,
maybe that
yeah.
You're just not eating. Like, it is so insane that for a long time, I feel like I don't see detox stuff as much, although I'm not on social media as much anymore. But I feel like definitely in the 20 teens, maybe even a little bit earlier, it was like a big thing, like detox, and this is, and they were like juice cleansers.
Yeah,
previous comment, juice not so good.
I remember there was one time, there's a guy that we both know. He was actually our boss for a little while, and someone I consider to be a smart man. But he used to like be obsessed because he was like a little bit larger. He was like obsessed with this idea of juice cleansers as like, this is actually like the easy and optimal way to lose weight. And he never did. But like he was like miserable doing it too.
I've never seen somebody on one of those juice cleanser or detoxes that was happy about it. It's just the worst experience. That's what was so kind of smart about them too, because they sold it as like a temporary thing. Like, oh, you don't need to go on this cleanse or detox for long. So it's just like, oh, just put up with it for like a couple of weeks of misery, and then you'll be so much better off for it. So people like pushed through this like terrible regime of eating and drinking.
Just put up with it is the phrase, isn't it?
Yeah. But here's another one that I like, and I feel like this comes up so often. I know, again, I'll just throw in family members under the bus, but like my mum has believed this one plenty of times. And I feel like it's one of those ones where people say, that's not true. And they go, yeah. But then those same people will bring it up again in future. This guy needs it rough. That's actually okay. That you can target fat by doing specific workouts.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
You can build muscle by doing specific workouts, but your body will burn fat from where it wants, not in that one area.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's made weeding out the workout frauds much easier.
Yeah. I've learned this lesson the hard way over the years. There's things I know about myself. Now, one is that I carry weight in my chest. So I've always had a bigger chest. And it's not like a muscly chest, it's just where I carry weight, which means that like I need to compensate for that when I'm buying clothes. Like I now know in the past I'd be like, oh, well, eventually I'll just lose weight from my chest. And it's always the last place I ever lose weight from. And similarly, this isn't necessarily weight, but for some reason I've always just had like kind of chunky, muscly legs. Yeah. And I've only kind of like in recent years accepted that like, oh, I need to like have a certain style of pant. Because if pants are too slim and my legs are quite chunky, it just kind of looks like someone's stuffing sausage into a sausage skin.
Yeah.
But like I can't. I know that I can't target those.
That's right.
Years and years I've tried and it never works.
Yeah, and I mean everybody's a little bit different anyway. But in general terms, men and women put on weight or keep weight in certain areas. So like women's more like the waist and sort of thigh region, and men it's normally like guts. Traditional like beer gut that men get, and chest as well, a little bit like you said. And it's like the idea is actually, you know what? I shouldn't say that this is definitely true. I think it might be, but I don't want to add to this. But your body will like take off weight in the reverse order that it has sort of put it on. So, for example, like your hands and your face are generally the kind of last ones to get that extra fat that you're using. So then if you're exercising and burning weight, it'll come from your face and hands, whatever, first, and then from the rest of your body. I'm not super sure how accurate that is, but I think there's something to there anyway.
It does like it's like the opposite of like a stock take. It does a FIFO.
It does a FIFO.
No,
that's right.
no, it doesn't do a FIFO. Sorry, it does a last in, first out.
Yeah. A LIFO. Yeah. All right, Gambo, let's move on into Today I Advice.
So now it's time for Today I Learned. What the intro to that?
Today I Learned.
And also sometimes advice.
This Today I Learned was by Tyrion 2024. Today I learned con artist Anthony Gignac once convinced American Express to issue him a platinum card with a $200 million credit limit under the name of an actual Saudi prince by claiming that failing to supply him with a new card would anger his supposed dad, the king.
Oh, that's funny.
I very much like this one.
Me too. Because it's that vague thing would work on like an American to be like, Saudi king wants this. And you're like, that sounds dangerous. So
yeah. I think it does seem like, it's the simplicity of it, I think, that makes it such a good story.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess it'd be the difference, I guess, with the classic scam used to be the Nigerian prince needs help. If it was like, a Saudi wants you to do this, you're like, okay, yeah. I'll do whatever. Just they got that oil money. I don't want to mess with them.
Yeah, exactly. What's also funny about this is that I read a little bit more. Not much, obviously. I'm not crazy, but the undoing was when they went to a restaurant. They were actually trying to con somebody else, I think, still acting as this Saudi prince. They went to a restaurant with somebody else and they ordered pork, which this person is like, no, you wouldn't be eating that. So then got like their own private investigating firm or whatever to look into him, and then found out that he was a fraud and then got done for it.
Undone by a yummy meal. Oh, no.
Imagine
that, like, my stomach will get me in trouble one day.
Yeah, that's true. That that would be my undoing too, for sure. I wouldn't pass up pork, I think.
Yeah. Like, and part of my brain would be like, careful, everything you do will be scrutinized. Ooh, pork.
Yeah. No. I would just, maybe what I'd have to do is pretend that I'm so ashamed that I accidentally ate pork, wink, wink. Yeah. That like, I didn't realize it was pork.
What I'll do, I'll take one more mouthful so I can always remember what it tastes like to know to avoid it in future.
Yeah. Oh, that was kind of a small mouthful. I better take a breath just to really solidify that.
Didn't really have any of this gravy on that one, so I had a little bit of that there.
Yeah. I like the idea that we've learned, I feel, that a lot of con artists, that confidence is key, in getting away with this stuff. Do you think that we could pull off something? Because actually, sorry, again, that's something else I read was this guy went into like a BMW dealership, and just asked to like test drive the car, which is well, honestly, when I read it, I was like, I'm pretty sure I could do the same thing. But I'm guessing maybe under a different name is a bit more. Like, I could go into a BMW dealership and be like, "Hey, can I test drive this?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. We want you to buy the car." So I'm not quite sure whether that story was that amazing or, but I thought, okay, well, maybe it's about the confidence of going in and not having to supply any ID, and perhaps then driving away with said car. So do you reckon that we could set up a scam where one of us is a Saudi prince, and the other one is like their advisor?
Yeah.
And so I think key to this is that the Saudi prince shouldn't talk.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And stay in the distance.
Stay in the distance. Yeah. It would help if we also had like a couple of bodyguards around.
Yeah, that would help. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But if you're potentially trying to steal a car, like could be like $200,000 car or something, I feel like you could easily pay people off with, a profit from the sale of that car. We'll be like, hey, we'll give you 10 grand. All you have to do is pretend to be a bodyguard.
So what we're doing is one of us is the right-hand man of a Saudi prince.
Yeah.
The other is the Saudi prince. The Saudi prince kind of lurks outside in the distance while the man goes in and goes, my employer wants to test this car.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we systematically steal a bunch of high-end luxury cars and sell them for profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that, yeah.
I think it's pretty flawless.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine, I feel like I've also been in the situation where, I've never been, and I feel like we've both said this, we're not particularly intimidated by like famous people or even like, wealthy people that try to command more respect and stuff. I feel like we're not so intimidated about that. But I think I could be pressured into feeling intimidated, I'm not immune to being conned, I think.
No, not at all.
I think the idea that if somebody was convincing enough, I'd be like, oh, they do look like a Saudi prince, and this is pretty weird, unique circumstance. So I guess I'll let it fly.
What I would need is like a certain authority figure to also be scared. Like if I was in a car
it helps,
and the manager is like, oh my God, I was like, oh, okay, this seems very important then.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
We need a couple of okay, we adding more and more people is going to diminish our cut. But if there are a couple of customers that we also pay to be in the dealership, and when the Saudi prince arrives, they're like, oh, we have to go, we have to leave right now.
Or they like take photos and stuff. Maybe they're like, oh, I know that Saudi prince.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know one Saudi prince.
But you want it to be like, it's vaguely threatening, I think.
Oh, okay. You're thinking like they're
if they
some
clear
sort of
out
hater as well or something in there.
Yeah. You want to like imply it but never say it.
Okay.
So if people are in the dealership, they see this person come in, they're like, oh, we need to leave. And then they suddenly leave. You'd be like, they seem to know who that was and didn't want to be around.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. If you want to join us on this scam, write in and tell us what role you want. Do you want to be advisor? Do you want to be bodyguard? Do you want to be scared customer? We'll give you $25.
Yeah. And look, we'll go 1% of profit. So then we're losing 5% off the top with the people that we help, but then we still have 95 to split between us.
Okay, yeah, that's good. But also, you agree to bear 100% of the risk if we get caught. It was your idea. You can't play back this episode.
You forced us to do this.
Yeah, we said it jokingly on a podcast episode, and then you harassed us into doing it. We were under the duress.
We said it as a joke. You wanted to do it, and you even got a Saudi prince to threaten us. Oh, hang on.
Wait a second.
Hang on. Now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, no, he wasn't real.
Oh, no. This is not good. I'm glad we're recording this now and realizing that we were conned at this moment, even though we haven't put off the joke. We'll cut this part out and we'll release it after.
This only gets heard in the courtroom. This is the first hearing of this part.
All right, Gabby, let's get into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought was cross-posted to us by Dumbitch 1998, but it was written by Rum Forest Rum. We're pretty lucky that the inside of our body itch isn't a thing. I think they mean that we don't itch on the inside of our body.
Yeah. Oh man, could you imagine? Like, even if you've just got an itch somewhere that's like untouchable.
Yeah, that's true.
You can kind of like say it's like right in the center of your back and you can't reach it. You can still find something to relieve that itch, but you just have that feeling with no relief.
Yeah, you can't get to it at all. Yeah, that would really suck. I have recently been searching something that I feel is like, it's definitely not an itch, but I get like a restless sort of upper back. Usually when I'm lying in bed trying to go to sleep, where like I just have to move. It's like it doesn't hurt, but it's kind of like uncomfortable or something. And I've done extensive research through ChatGPT. No, and it's not related to this, but it just made me learn about restless leg syndrome, which is a thing. People feel like they have to move their legs a lot. I also found it can be related to iron deficiency and a few other things, which actually I am iron deficient at the moment. Again, I don't think this is actually related, but and I think that's kind of like the equivalent almost of a itch you can't scratch, where like you just kind of need to be, people with restless leg syndrome need to just like constantly be moving their legs around, because they find it uncomfortable. So there is a restless torso syndrome, but apparently a lot less pretty rare to get, where you just kind of have to move around a lot. And I'm like, it's pretty annoying.
Yeah,
I think to have to kind of do that. Here's another one though. It's by Oddball. If you sleep 5 hours per night and die at age 75, you still have spent just as many years awake as a person who sleeps 8 hours per night and dies at age 89.
So you could just be more efficient at life and get it done quicker.
Be more efficient at life.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though. Part of the enjoyment for life for me is like seeing where we go with technology and being able to witness the creation of like new and enjoyable TV shows and stuff. That stuff takes time. Just because I live more actual day doesn't mean I get to experience those things more. I have to wait for those things to come out. I would do the opposite of this if it was possible.
Sleep more.
Like, I'd sleep and only be up 3 hours a day if I could last,
150
like
years.
200 or something like that. Just wake up. I'll be like, cool. What's the latest TV show that everybody's talking about? I'll watch that in the 3 hours that I'm awake. I don't think this version is very good. Actually, I'll also have to admit that sleep, turns out, just by the way, Cambo, I'm a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Very important.
You've been giving a lot of medical advice this episode, just by the way, nutrition and medical advice.
Yeah. Am I wrong, Cambo?
No, because you're a doctor.
Important.
You're a doctor.
I'm a doctor. I know these things. There's a lot of studies relating to like dementia as well. Early onset dementia can be linked with
lack of sleep.
This is a statistic I learned a while ago, but then reheard it recently, which is during daylight savings, when people put their clock back an hour, the rise of heart attacks is significant in that first week because people are sleeping 1 hour less.
Wow.
Isn't that so crazy?
Yeah.
And the opposite is true apparently when people put their clocks forward, I think, because they have an extra hour sleep. So there's actually less heart attacks and death from that, which I think is just so fascinating because it seems like such a small difference. 1 hour a night. Obviously, you're talking about like the fringes, but it's statistically relevant, that this happens, which I think does highlight just how important sleep is for everyone. Even if obviously you're healthy enough to be able to sleep 1 or a few hours less, you're actually way better off consistently sleeping, 8 or 9 hours a night or whatever. Much better for your health.
Yeah, like it literally like regenerates your body. Like
exactly.
There is benefit to it,
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's it for shower thoughts. We should get into podnapping.
Oh my God! I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
This is podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another thing, and we do it ourselves.
It's my week this week, Nelson. But I'm doing a podnapping to help you.
Oh.
So this is actually going to, I'll say this, at the very least, it's going to change your life in one way or the other. Because your wedding, not necessarily in a good way, we'll find out. Your wedding is coming up. I was going to say the word impending, but that seemed ominous. Just coming up.
We're waiting for approval.
No. I said impending. Like
impending.
Impending, even though it just, I think, means like coming up and inevitable. It sounds like it's like, people always say like impending doom.
Impending doom.
But you're not yet, you haven't yet had your wedding. And one of the things that people like to do is they play like the newlywed game or something. You say how in sync you are with your partner. And I wanted to take that idea, but I didn't want to do it in the boring traditional way. Because newlywed game, stuff like that, you can kind of essentially, through your relationship with Alan, these things will have come up. I just want to get a real sense of your vibe on Alan.
Okay.
So I have completely randomized a bunch of this or that have nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
And I have asked Alan what she would pick of all of these this and that's. And now just based on vibe alone, I want to see how well you're able to pick up.
It's funny you say this because for Ellen's hens, they did exactly this. It was like all her friends had a this or that thing for Ellen. You had to guess what Ellen would do. And then I also did one that they read out at the end, what I thought she would do. And honestly, it was like 50-50.
Well,
there was some that I'm like, I'm so confident she would choose this one. And she didn't. So
I've deliberately tried to make these like, there's no reason you would know this.
Okay. That's good.
I tried to be as random as possible because you could say, favorite meal, this or that. And, through living with her, you will have worked that out. But hopefully these are just like, oh, God, I don't know. But obviously if you get this wrong, you can't get married is why it's going to change your life.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you've spent a lot of money so far.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's annoying to lose all that.
We'll start off with ones that are a little bit more like you could reason these out. So time travel to the past or future?
I reckon future.
Oh, Nelson. Nelson.
Not a good start.
Alan chose the past.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. I think you're misremembering what I said. I said the past. She wants to go to the past before she met me. Make some different decisions.
Nelson, yellow or red?
Oh, no. Oh, God. This could go either way. I'm going to say yellow.
Oh, Nelson. Oh, Nelson. Oh, no. This is okay. Super strength or mind reading?
Shit. Mind reading feels like it has so many flaws. Oh, I'm going to say mind reading anyway.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Oh, thank God. I wish I had mind reading right now. That's for sure.
This one won't mean much to people outside of Australia, but Holden or Ford?
Oh God, I never. Holden.
It was Holden. Well done.
Yeah, screw Ford.
Left sock first or right sock first?
Left sock first.
Nelson. Oh, no.
What? Oh my God, maybe I don't want to get married with her anyway. That's the most insane thing to start with your right foot.
Round table or square table?
I think square.
Yes, well done. It is square table.
Oh, phew. See, some of these you think they're random, but like I feel like I should know.
All right. So the next couple here, those ones that I just said to you, they kind of relate to each other. Like what kind of table, what color. These ones are just two things, and I just was curious what you chose.
Okay.
Crayon or escalator?
Ooh. Ellen does draw a little bit, but I think probably doesn't like going upstairs. Does anyone? Does anyone like going upstairs? I'm still. Oh God. Yeah, I'll say escalator.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
That's good.
Soggy toast or squeaky door? Now, I will point out, she said that I like or that I don't like. And I said, that's for Nelson to work out. So she's made a choice, but I don't know whether it's what she'd prefer or what she hates most. You need to vibe that.
Oh, well, that's confusing. I think she would hate soggy toast more.
But what did she pick?
Like, what did she pick? I guess I'll choose the squeaky door then.
Well done. You've done it.
Yeah. Total in sync. Maybe. Who knows?
A drawer that won't close properly or lukewarm soup?
God, this is still confusing as to what context.
I deliberately made her not clarify it for me either.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I guess, drawer that won't close.
No, she picked lukewarm soup. Did she like it less or more? We don't know.
I don't know.
Here's an easy one for you. Left or right?
Right.
She did pick right.
Yeah.
Cactus or bonsai?
Bonsai.
Yes, well done. So now you're on a roll. There are 4 left. Fold or scrunch?
Fold.
No, she picked scrunch.
What? Oh my God.
Marbles or magnets?
I don't know. I'm gonna say magnets.
She did say magnets. Well done.
I almost said marbles. I always said marbles.
All right, 2 more. Slinkies or yo-yos?
Yo-yo.
No, Slinky.
I almost went Slinky. I changed my mind.
The last one, Jurassic Park or Titanic?
I reckon maybe Jurassic Park.
She did say Jurassic Park. Well done.
Yeah.
I think you have, if nothing else, pretty much maintained your 50% strike rate.
Exactly. Yeah. And some of those I wasn't even sure of the context of how she was answering, but hey.
If you know her 50% and she knows you 50%, that's 100% still. So
that's math. That's math. Can't get it wrong.
This is like an exam, I guess. You just had to get over 50%, and I deemed you to be at 52%.
Okay, that's a pass. That is a pass.
And get married.
Yeah. They should do this at the start of any ceremony, and like legally it should be a thing. You need to do a newlyweds game type thing. And if you don't get at least 50%, sorry. See you later.
We cannot proceed. It's because, like, when you get married, they do, at least here, they do pull you into a room separately and just say, hey, just need to confirm that you're doing this of your own volition and such. Do you think this should be part of that?
Yeah,
I've got
exactly.
the answers from your partner. I'm going to quickly throw a couple of things at you, and if this doesn't get at least 50%, then I cannot perform the ceremony.
Yeah, I think so. I think that should be the law from now on. Only because I passed, obviously.
If you didn't pass, it's a bullshit law and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's rubbish. All right. But that's it for another episode. If you'd like to write into us there, you can do so. readitpodcast, readitpodcast @gmail.com. You can also reach us at our subreddit or the Discord. The link is in the show notes. And we'd appreciate it if you could rate the show, leave a comment, tell a friend.
Start a cult in our honor.
Do it.
Yeah.
Start and sacrifice something when you do. We're not saying what, just has to be something. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we will read you later.